What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the CrazyFaceUno Live. Instagram, Facebook, both are active. You guys get a little inside peek. We are going to figure out Podbean, which is the podcasting app that we use. So we're going to go live there as well. So we're going to have a live audio version, and we'll post that later. Hopefully. And we're live. There we are. We're live everywhere. All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the CrazyFaceUno live stream. Here at CrazyFaceUno, we believe that everyone has a story and that everyone's story matters. What's your story? As always, I'm your host, Shane McNeely. And boy, are you in for a treat today. This is our first ever live stream, live cast, and we're glad you're all here. If you're just tuning in, I see we've got at least one person that's here on. We got two people. Welcome, 40 the dog. I know who you are. We are, we're just going to be telling some stories. The concept here is that as everyone kind of comes in and joins us, hopefully we have a few more people that join us, and we want to be able to tell stories. I've got a whole list. Dana, my wife, and my producer is there. Janelle, welcome, Janelle. We have we're gonna have people call in, so if you're interested in calling in, please go ahead and call in, and I'll have you pick a number between 1 and Dana. What's our
22?
22. So we've got 22 questions, open-ended kind of questions to provoke some stories. So as you call in, we'll have you pick a number between 1 and 22. And then from there, we will ask you the question, and we'll tell some stories, see how things go. All right. The number, so it would be helpful if you had the number. Dana, if you don't mind posting the number to Instagram, and I'll put it on Facebook. And the number is 612-367-7792. One more time. 612-367-7792. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone who's here. Again, I'm going to shout out the number 612-367-7792. Dana, my wife, so Dana, it's Thel0529. She just posted the number on Instagram, and I will be posting the number here. 612-367-7792. Boom. So if you call in, you're going to pick a number. I'm actually going to give away a couple mugs. So if you've been on our online store, you might have noticed that we have a bunch of mugs. They're used mugs, but they're great. They're in great condition. They're pretty fun. There's some fun ones out there. This is one of the mugs. It's not on the online store. This is a special edition, if you will. So if you're on Facebook here, I'm going to give away this mug to the first person to call in and answer one of our questions. So here we go. Dana, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I will give a little example as if I called in. I'm going to pick my number when I was in college and played soccer was 11. So we're going to go with number 11. Go ahead and read off number 11 if you don't mind.
Tell us a story about your favorite subject in school.
Tell us a favorite subject. Hey, we've got a caller. We have a caller. I'm going to answer. Hello, welcome to the CrazyFaceUno Live.
Send a voicemail. Press 2.
Oh.
Okay. I sent the caller's voicemail. Goodbye.
I didn't want to go to voicemail. Hey, go ahead and get. Oh, we got another caller. Welcome. Wow, what is going on here?
Press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello, welcome to the CrazyFaceUno live stream.
What up?
What's going on, Janelle? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. I've got my younger sister Tessa here too.
Awesome. Hello. I'm glad you guys are here. So if you have been listening to the podcast at all, you are maybe no stranger to Janelle Pauls. And she has been on the podcast a couple times. She's helping me out on some stuff on the backside of things as well. Janelle, why don't you just fill us in on a little bit about you today and what you're up to these days, and then we'll have you pick a number.
Well, at this moment in time, I am having a birthday dinner with my sister.
Birthday dinner.
My
Happy birthday.
Hey, thanks. My birthday is on Friday, and
Aww.
Tessa, my sister, her birthday is on Saturday. So
awesome.
I'm at her house. Her housemates cooked a beautiful Honduran dinner for us, and we had margaritas, and now we're about to just lay around on the couch and watch TV.
Awesome. Awesome.
But yeah, we thought we'd call in and say hey.
Hey. All right. Well, that's awesome. Janelle, again, if you're listening, Janelle is someone who's been on the podcast before. You should definitely check it out. There's 2 podcasts with Janelle. So check out our podcast together. Janelle and Tessa, what number would you like to pick, 1 and 22?
Between 1 and 22?
Yes.
Oh, God.
I know.
Mine's just saying 17.
All right.
17. Okay.
They have picked 17.
Yeah.
Dana, what is question number 7?
Each of us to answer this question?
Yeah, we'll have you both answer the question. How's that sound?
Okay, great. That's great. Tessa's answer is still 17.
17.
Tell us a story about a weird dream.
Tell us a story about a weird dream.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Who are we starting off with first? Is this Tessa?
So that's Tessa.
All right, Tessa, tell us a story about a weird dream that you have had.
So I had this dream once. This was probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I don't dream often, but when I do, they're like crazy vivid.
Yeah.
Like I can picture the things that people are wearing, like really intensely vivid dreams. And so I had a dream that a bunch of friends were over, actually for a birthday dinner for Janelle and I. We were all like sitting around and eating a homemade peach cobbler with vanilla ice cream.
Good choice.
And we were at Tyler, Grant, and Ansley's house.
Okay, friends of ours.
And Tyler had said, like, you know what, Ansley is just a little sensitive and on edge right now. She's waiting for a call that her grandmother has died.
Oh, man.
And so, like, let's just all be, kind and respectful and all of that. And so as we were there just hanging out, having a good time, she got a call. And so she, like, picked up her phone and went into the back bedroom to take the call. And she was gone for a few minutes, and so we were all just kind of talking about what it might be and worrying kind of for her. And then we heard this, like, blood-curdling scream. And Tyler went back to check on her, and we just heard her, like, wailing. And then he came back a few minutes later and said, guys, I just want to let you know, and I want you to be really, like, kind and respectful to her. Her fish was just hit by a car.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
And I started laughing so hard that I woke myself up.
Oh, man. That is awesome. So if you're just
My
tuning,
favorite dream I've ever had.
yeah, if you're just tuning in, Tessa just answered the question about the weirdest dream or a weird dream that she has had. And we're also on the phone with Janelle, and Janelle's also going to tell us a story about a weird dream that she has had. Janelle, you're up.
Okay, so mine is a lot less involved, but
No goldfish in this? Getting hit by cars?
no goldfish involved, but equally delightful, maybe, just in a simpler way. I had a dream last week that I spent the day at the Universal Studios Harry Potter World. That was it.
Yeah.
I had some alcohol, okay?
All right.
Spent some time at spent the day at Harry Potter World with none other than Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. He's the man.
Yeah.
He's the myth. He's the legend.
Yep. And he wore leopard print pants, I'm sure he did, and a denim jacket with no shirt.
Oh, wow. Man, it sounds like a really, I mean, it's like getting your birthday party started off. Like, here we are.
Freaking right.
Wow.
It was great. I had
I
a great time, rode the ride, had some butterbeer, and, Diagon Alley.
nice.
What happens in Diagon Alley stays, I don't know. Did you find that life finds a way?
Life.
Yeah, life finds a way, guys.
That's awesome. That's
Oh,
awesome. Janelle, Tessa, thank you so much for calling. I have another caller on the other line. I'm going to
All right.
move on.
So
All
have
right.
fun.
Sounds good. See ya. Oh, and we missed him. Here we are. I'm going to just call her because she has tried to call twice now, and we've missed her call. Savannah, I'm not ignoring you. I know it's Savannah. We're going to give her a call right now. Here we go. So if you're just tuning in, we are... Oh, there she is. Hello. Welcome to the CrazyFaceUno live stream. And is it working?
Yep.
This is Shane. Welcome to the CrazyFaceUno live stream. How's it going?
Hey, man. It's Francis, Savannah's husband.
Francis, welcome.
Good to hear from you, man.
Good to
We're
hear from
excited
you.
about what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for calling in. It's good to hear from you. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you heard. We are taking calls, and I'm going to have you pick a number between 1 and 22. 17 was just picked. So if you were listening, that was about a dream. So if you want to tell us a story about a dream, a weird dream that you've had, that's more than acceptable. Otherwise, pick another number between 1 and 22.
All right. I'm going to go with what you were doing, which was your number for soccer in college. So I'll go with my number for sports in college, which was 12.
12. Number 12. Dana, what do we got?
Tell us a story about how you learned something you did growing up was not common.
Tell us a story about something you did growing up that was not common.
Not common.
Yeah. So something that unique about yourself, something unique about your life growing up. I know, it put you on the spot.
I mean, I don't know if this is not common, but it's kind of ironic, so I'll talk about it.
Let's go for it.
What I'm doing for my job right now is fire investigation. So I'm in that kind of field with engineering and fire
Very cool.
investigation.
Yeah.
And what I used to do a lot as a kid was my friends and I would head out into the woods in Maryland, and we would build forts and stuff out of all kinds of different things we could find out there. And then
Sure.
we'd also light fires a lot. We would have like campfires at night.
Yeah.
And stuff that, I bet you we probably weren't thinking about the fact that if it was dry enough, we probably could have had some sort of brush fire, but we did it anyways. And they asked me about it when I interviewed for this job. So
really, what was their?
That's something kind of unique that I found out wasn't exactly normal.
Absolutely. What was the question that they asked you in your interview about it? Was it just like, tell us a time that you burnt something down, or?
Yeah, I mean, they had all kinds of questions since it's alongside government work, so they had all kinds of, how much, like what kinds of different drugs have you done in your life, and I had to answer those, and that was pretty easy for me. That one specifically was, I think they were trying to get to the point of, like, have you ever caused an illegal fire or something like that?
Yeah. Like, are you a pyromaniac?
Basically. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that's really cool. Francis, I know where you're at these days, but tell our listeners and the people that are there, where are you living these days?
Yeah, so Savannah and I, we met you at a conference in Texas. But, we are not from Texas. We are living in Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C.
Nice.
And Savannah is very involved in 2 different ministries, and she's also a part-time dog walker. And myself, I am also involved in ministry at our church, and then I'm a full-time mechanical engineer with a company that does fire investigation alongside the government.
Wow, that's awesome. Francis, thanks so much. I really appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. We're excited to see how your CrazyFaceUno takes off here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. You have a great evening.
Yeah, you too. Yeah.
Bye. All right. Thank you for Janelle, Tessa, and Francis for calling in. If you're tuning in or you're tuned in the middle of our callers, we are taking calls right now on air. The number is 612-367-7792. You can call in. We are going to ask you a few questions that are going to evoke some stories. So CrazyFaceUno, we believe that everyone has a story, that everyone's story matters, and we want to hear what your stories are. We have a podcast, so if you're not familiar with our podcast, please check it out. You can go to iTunes. You can go to the podcast app. You can go to pretty much wherever you prefer to have your listening pleasure of podcasts. We're going to be there. You can search Thee CrazyFaceUno podcast and find it out. We're actually going to send our last 2 callers. We're going to send them a couple mugs here. So Francis, we've got a mug for you. You were technically our first caller, so I'm going to send you this one. And Tessa and Janelle, I'm going to send you this mug. The significance of the mugs are, if you go onto our online store, it's CrazyFaceUno.com, you can find mugs for sale. And that's just something that's helping support and helping CrazyFaceUno exist. It provides a little extra finances for what we're doing here, and as we continue to grow. We're going to have some new merchandise coming out, hopefully in the next couple months here, but bear with us as we work on designs and work on some different ideas that we've got going on with that. You can call us. I see we've got a couple new listeners. We've got one. Somebody's asking for the number. The number Dana just texted, 612-367-7792. Go ahead and call in. I have 2 more mugs that I'm going to be giving away. If you want to give us a call at 612-367-7792, I will give away these mugs. I have 2 mugs. We'll give them away for the next 2 callers. Some fun little mugs. Who wants them? Who wants them? Give us a call. Again, as you call in, we're going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 22. We have some different questions associated with those numbers. and we will ask you those questions and get to your stories. And we've got a caller. It says he's calling now. We're ready. We are ready. As we wait, oh, here we go. We've got another caller. Let me get it set up here. Hello, welcome to the CrazyFaceUno live stream. Who are we talking to?
Alex Sikoris.
What's going on, Alex? It's been a while, man.
How are you, Shane?
I'm doing great.
Nice to talk to you, man.
I know, it's good to talk to you. I thought that was you. It's hard to tell sometimes with people's Instagram. I saw you were came on Instagram, and I wasn't sure if that was you or if it was somebody else. So it's good to talk to you. Where in the world are you today?
I'm in Mishawaka, Indiana.
Mishawaka, the old stomping grounds of our college days. And
Absolutely.
what are you up to these days? Fill everybody in on kind of your life right now.
So I'm working at a company called Liquid Components, and I'm a product manager.
Awesome.
But more importantly than that, I have a baby on the way in February.
Ooh, well, congratulations. Congratulations. That's awesome. Dude, that's so fun. And you said February?
February 4th. Yeah,
February 4th. Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations. And you're married now, right?
I am married, yes.
Good.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. I'm really excited for you and your wife. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, go ahead. We have, again, numbers between 1 and 22. What number would you like?
And you said 17 and 12 have been taken?
They have. You can definitely pick those numbers, but we've
I'll
heard
go
them.
with 8. I'll go with number 8.
8. Question number 8. Dana, what do we got?
Tell us a homie story about your favorite food.
Tell us a homie story about your favorite food.
A homie story?
Yeah, something about, that would be about your home. Something that reminds you of home.
Gotcha.
Or,
Rice pilaf. So growing up, I'm Greek and Armenian, and
Ooh.
my both sides of my family made rice pilaf, and they were both a little bit different.
Okay.
But it has always just been something that has been a staple at any family meal that we have, and I'm always looking forward to it. It was my favorite food growing up, and I would always eat way too much of it.
Yeah, man, I have those same meals that just remind me of home, that remind me of, I don't know, just they're that comfort food, that are you have them at all the holidays and there's different gatherings, and you said it was rice rice pilaf. Any certain flavors with it, or?
So it's funny. It's just rice, noodles, butter, garlic, and onions. And it all depends on how much
I'm sold.
You're putting in of each thing, and it is just so unbelievably good.
Tell Mom I'll be there next weekend.
Right? Mom and Grandma.
Yeah, Mom and Grandma. That's awesome.
It's at every meal that we have, and I'll tell you what, just walking in, I could hear it cooking, I could smell it cooking, and then when I see it, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's so much fun. That's awesome. Alex, if you probably saw I had these 2 mugs, I'd like to send you one.
Love it.
If you would text me your address to this number afterwards, I will get that sent to you. Which one do you want, the blue or the one with the flowers and it's a little bigger? I don't know if you're watching.
The blue one.
The blue one.
The blue one will be good.
All right, I'm going to send you the blue mug. Alex, thank you so much for calling.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. Let's catch up one of these, buddy.
Love what you're doing. Yeah, let's catch up.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. All right. Thanks, Alex. Bye. All right, everybody. You just heard we were on the phone with Alex, and he is calling in from Mishawaka, Indiana. He had the question about a homey meal, something that reminds him of home. It's one of his favorite foods, and it was rice pilaf. And cultural meal for him and something that reminds him of home that Mom and Grandma would fix. We've got one more mug that I'm going to give away for our next caller. So it is the mug that I'm holding now. If you're on Facebook and on Instagram, you can see. So our next caller, I will be sending you that mug. And we've given away 2 other mugs already. We've had a couple of different stories. If you're just tuning in, or if you're needing the number is 612-367-7792. And the way this is going to go, I'm going to ask you a little bit about yourself, kind of what you're up to these days, where you're calling from, and then we're going to have you pick a number between 1 and 22, and then you will answer the question and tell us a little story that goes along with that question. We've had a question already about a weird dream that you've had. We had another question about a meal that reminds you of home, a homey meal. We had a question about a childhood.
Something you did that wasn't common.
Something you did that wasn't common from childhood. So, as you are listening, if you want to call in, I'm going to go ahead and answer a question. I had number 11. I had asked number 11. And
Tell us a story about your favorite subject in school.
Tell us a story about your favorite subject in school. Man. School, favorite subject. Man, I always liked the sciences in school. I'm trying to think. I have a specific one. I'm jumping between. I remember the one that I remember most is probably middle school. It was we dissected a sheep's heart, and I remember dissecting the sheep's heart, and peeling back the fat on the sheep's heart. This class was kind of fun. One thing that was really cool about this specific class was Mrs. Allenball's class, and she had this big python in the classroom. So this doesn't really have much to do with the class, to be completely honest, or this question in some ways, but it's a story that I remember. But I remember we would actually get to feed it, and so she would take turns and kind of go through the different classes and feed them at different periods, and we would get like the rats or whatever, and she'd put them in there. Usually they were dead, but and they would take a big old bite out of the whatever rodent that was in there, and it'd wrap it up, and get to watch it. Pretty fun process. Gruesome maybe, but that was definitely one. This is the same class. So she was my middle school teacher, and then she ended up teaching in high school as well. And so I had her both periods. She's since passed away from cancer. I was good friends with her son and with her daughter. And but I remember also, this is the same class that I remember seeing or like watching the aftermath of 9/11. I was in her class that morning when she turned on the TV, and that's like where I was when I found out about 9/11. So science class. My science class. Science is probably my favorite subject, or one of my favorite subjects, and just the sciences in general. Let's see. I have a text message from someone. It is actually my father. And so we're going to give my father a call, and we'll have him answer a question. All right, here we go.
Hey there.
Hello, welcome to the CrazyFaceUno live stream. Who might we be speaking with right now?
This is your padre. I'm a first-time listener, first-time caller.
This is my dad, David. Welcome, Father. Why don't you fill everyone in where you're at these days, where you live, where you're calling in from?
The wonderful state of Indiana, Indianapolis, Indiana. Primarily live here in Indy.
Nice. And what are you up to these days?
Trying to make a living, man. I'm in lawn care sales, as you know. So
Yeah.
selling lawn care sales, getting ready to go on vacation in a couple of weeks, and going to see my granddog and just the parents as well. I get to see old Chancey too.
Getting to come join the warmer weather down here in Coconut Creek, Florida. Well, welcome. Thanks for calling. Thanks for being willing to chat on the phone. What number between 1 and 22?
Oh, let me do number 5.
Number 5.
Tell
Dana, what
us
do
a
we
story
got?
about something funny that happened to you.
Tell us a story about something funny that has happened to you.
Oh, good grief.
Dig deep. Dig deep.
You know, something funny happened to me. You know, it's going to happen to probably be something that happened with your stepbrother, Austin.
All right.
Number of years ago, when we lived in Terre Haute, I came home from work one day, and for some reason we got into this game of chase of cat and mouse, where I'm chasing him and end up going outside and through the garage and back in through the back door, and round you go. Well, I got this bright idea as I'm chasing him around that I'm going to really prank him. I got in my Explorer in the garage, and I lean way over, and as I'm leaning way over, I'm waiting on him to come around. And he's never coming around, and I keep looking for him. And all of a sudden, I hear from the back seat, "You hiding in here too?" And he was already in the Explorer. And it was the funniest thing that ever happened. I busted out laughing.
That's
and
awesome.
couldn't wait to get in there to tell Kelly about it, because it was absolutely hilarious. The joke was on me. It was absolutely hilarious.
That's awesome.
I thought
That's hilarious.
it
So you're hiding in the same spot.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the back seat, and I'm waiting on him to come around, and boom, he's already there. He would have scared the pudding out of him if he just said something else. So it's crazy.
That's awesome. Well,
Now,
thank
if you don't mind, I'm going to piggyback on your question. I think you asked the question about your favorite class in school.
Yeah.
And mine would have been speech, which probably wouldn't have surprised you at all. But my favorite memory with all that is my speech teacher when I was a sophomore in high school, which is 100 years ago. But about 10 years later, we was at our church there south of Akron in northern Indiana. One of the kids who went to our church came and said something about Mrs. Barr using my speech as an example of what not to do. We had a demonstration speech where you had to demonstrate how to do something. And that morning, this would have been in the 70s, so it's been 100 years ago, but my intention was to take a shotgun to school and show how to clean a gun.
Yeah.
But I talked to the principal, not a problem. I just had to take the pin out of the gun, didn't want to have to do that. So I was doing well in the class, I was just going to blow it off and not do anything. Well, that morning, sitting at the kitchen table, I had a brainstorm of an idea, and I gave a demonstration speech on how to make a peanut butter and banana sandwich. I took a banana, a jar of peanut butter, and 2 slices of bread, and I went through the most horrendous description of how to peel a banana, how to open a jar of peanut butter, how to hold the knife to dip it out, proper way to dip peanut butter out of the jar. Went through all that to such stupid detail that even the teacher violated every rule that she had, because one of the biggest rules in when someone was giving a speech is you never interacted with them.
Yeah.
The class was in stitches. The teacher was interacting and asking questions because it was so stupid. I ended up getting a great grade on the speech, and she was giving me crap 10 years later, using my example of what not to do in that speech. And I told the kid, I said, go back to the school
Well, it may not have been the most memorable speech, but it was very, very memorable for her and a lot of people. So
That's
all I
awesome.
got to say about that. So it's fun. It's a fun story.
That's awesome. I wonder if, do you know if she's still alive today?
You know, I tried to find her on Facebook. I don't believe she is. I'd love to talk to her if she would be.
Yeah, it's one of those I'd be wondering. Yeah, I wonder if she would still remember your speech.
Oh my gosh, I have no doubt in my mind. Because she used it. It was something that happened annually. Every now and then I'd get a kid, hey, Mrs. Barr, we talked about you at school today. I said, must be getting ready to do your demonstration speeches. And she said, yeah, how'd you know? Yeah, well, I'm kind of a memorable person to her, I guess. So it was pretty cool.
Well, thank you so much for calling in and telling us your stories. I appreciate it.
No worries. I'll see you guys in a few weeks.
All right, sounds good. See you, Dad.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
All right, so that was my father. He was telling a story about a couple different stories, actually. He told a story. Sorry, we're plugging in. If you're on Instagram, we're plugging the phone in. It's apparently we're running the juice pretty low over there on Instagram, and we got on the struggle bus, it looks like. Go ahead and use this, Dana. We can put it in here. Yeah. All right. We're going to fix this. Bear with us just for a moment here on Instagram and Facebook. There we go. Hey, we're back. All right, and if you're just tuning in, so the number you can call in. I still have one mug. I'm not going to send it to my father. I'm going to save it for one of you that are still listening. The number is 612-367-7792. And I believe Dana's going to post it up. My co-host producer back here on the back, my wife. She's amazing. There's a number on Instagram. I'll post it again here on Facebook as well. You can call 612-367-7792. Next caller will receive our last mug that we have to give everyone, to give the next caller. Again, as you call in, I've got 22 questions. We've had a few questions already answered, but 22 questions. You can pick a number between 1 and 22, and we will read off that question, and you can tell us a story that is associated with that question. I just told the story about kind of my favorite subject, I guess, or something that happened within my favorite subject, or why it's my favorite subject, but I told a few different stories with that. I'm going to pick another number. I'm going to pick number 4. Dana, what is number 4?
Tell us a story about your childhood hero.
A story about my childhood hero. Man, these questions are fun to ask and tougher to answer. Let's see. Childhood hero. Man, that's a tough one. Might be my childhood hero. Boy, that is tough. You know, the thing that came to mind, which isn't really a hero. As I think about a hero, I'm going to tell a story. Just something that like kind of came to mind was MacGyver was something that came to mind. I don't know if you're listening, if you remember the TV show, Mr. MacGyver, and he always pulled rabbits out of his hat. He always got into these like sticky situations, these crazy predicaments, and then had to like use a shoestring and a toothpick and the saliva or the bubble gum from his like that he was chewing on to like come up with something to get himself out of the situation that he was in. But I just remember that show is one that I watched very religiously growing up, and made sure that I always watched that show. Childhood hero. It's funny, like if I look back and I think about, some of people that I really like had influence or a lot of influence, and looking back, I don't know that I thought of this at the time, but my grandma Della, she is someone that I look to and I look at as she's one of my heroes, and she's just one of those, man, we're going to get emotional. We're going to start crying on this one. But she's one of my heroes for sure. She's one of my most favorite people in the world. And, she's just someone that she's endured a lot. She's gone through a lot. She's done a lot. And I just have so many good memories. We just had, Dana's family was just here. And I was remembering a bunch of different stories while I was talking to her dad this weekend. And, there's a podcast. I actually did a podcast with my grandma. I had the opportunity to do that while we were driving down to Florida. And so some of these stories are there, but one of the things that I really remember, her name is Della Paul, by the way. So if you're interested in listening to that podcast, go check it out. It's really interesting. And, she's a fantastic woman and one of my favorite people in the world. But my mom was diagnosed with cancer shortly after I was born, and she helped take care of me, and I think that's kind of really solidified our bond in those first couple of years of my life of just having that special connection with her. And I remember, just this story, like reading stories while I was in, oftentimes I would get a bath, and I'd want her to read these stories, and there'd be these books that she'd keep in this one little desk, and she'd read these stories to me. And so there's like that fond memory that I have of her, and I don't know, just so many different ones of her and I going out. And there was one hot summer day. Legitimately, it was probably, 90 plus degrees, it's a 100-degree day. I love fires. So Francis, if you're still listening, I can totally relate to the story that you told about like building forts and starting fires and whatnot in the woods and whatnot. But I would always want to have this fire at her house, and it was just something we did. We joked about it later. It was 90 degrees in the shade. That was always our joke about it. It was like 90 degrees in the shade, and here we are with this big old fire going. And we had to stand back so far because it was so stinking hot. We're sweating like crazy. In the midst of starting this fire, we found a little box turtle, and my grandpa had just mowed the lawn, and there was just, clearly he had waited a little longer because there was big old chunks of this grass. And so I made this little cage, and I stacked up all the grass and went and grabbed the piles and piled up this grass to make this little like cage for this turtle. And obviously it wasn't going to hold it in, but that's one of my fond memories of my grandma. Definitely a childhood hero of mine, and someone that I look up to and look to these days. They live out in the middle of nowhere in Gilead, Indiana. And if you want to look that up, there's probably 30, 35 people that live in that little town. And it's a little tiny thing. But next to her was a field, and they always had cows. And they'd raise these cows, and I loved the cows. I called them moo cows. And I'd go, Grandma, the moo cows are out. And we'd go over, and I'd pick the grass along the fence line, and I'd feed it to the cows. And I always remember that memory. She'd like lift me up or put me on her knee, or I'd climb up the pole and hold on with one hand. And these cows would come up to you and get that big old tongue and wrap their tongue around that the grass and those different things. It was fun. If you're listening, we're telling stories, and CrazyFaceUno, I truly believe that everyone has a story, and that everyone's story matters, and we want to hear your stories. And the podcast has been a focal point of CrazyFaceUno. And so if you're familiar with CrazyFaceUno, you know that we have the podcast. It's long form, about an hour and a half long, and this is a way that we can engage people that maybe I don't have the closest connection to you, or maybe I do. I don't know. And just ways that we can have more interaction and hear more people's stories, and just short little stories. So if you want to call in, the number's available. Dana's posted it on Instagram. That's my wife. So Thel0529 is my wife, and she's helping me out behind the scenes here. And on Facebook, I just posted the phone number as well. It's 612-367-7792. We're going to be on probably for the next 15 minutes or so. We're going to cut it off at around an hour. But we have 22 questions right now, and we're going through, and we're going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 22, and we'll ask you that question. And then from there, you get to tell us the story that's associated with that question. So if you're listening, we'd love to hear your stories. Go ahead and give us a call at 612-367-7792. Also, I have for my next caller, my last caller, I have this mug that I'm going to give away. The significance of the mugs, if you haven't listened to any of our podcasts, maybe you're new to CrazyFaceUno, we have mugs up on our website, CrazyFaceUno.com. You can go there. These are not up on the website. These are newer mugs, and the mugs are significant because they just help us generate a little income and help us produce a little money to support what we're doing here at CrazyFaceUno and continuing to tell people stories and grow the business and grow into something more than just a podcast and something more than just a live stream, but the ability to share other people's stories and to empower, to love, and to celebrate people, projects, and causes. And that's something that we really, truly care about, and something that we're working towards every day is having the ability to use storytelling to empower, to love, to celebrate people, projects, and causes. So if you're listening, give us a call. 612-367-7792. I'm actually going to, as we're waiting on your call, I'm going to call on my wife. I would like you to pick a number between 1 and 22.
Between 1 and 2.
1 and 2. 1 and 22.
Well, I'm going to pick 2. I don't
2.
remember what 2 is.
All right.
2 is, tell us the story about your first memory.
Tell us the story of your first memory. Come on over here, get a little closer.
I don't know if I want to be on camera.
Well, you can just get closer and speak from a distance.
Okay. Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm speaking from a distance. So the question is to tell us about my first memory, right?
Your first memory.
So I just remember waking up one day. Me and my sister shared a room, and we had bunk beds. She was in the top bunk. I was on the bottom bunk. And I just remember waking up and knowing that I was in my bedroom. And I don't know, I remember having this internal thought process of like, how do I know this is my bedroom? How do I know what a bedroom is? Well, my sister's sleeping up like above me. How do I know that's my sister?
Do you remember how old you were?
I was probably, no, I don't. I want to say I was 5 because I really like the number 5. So I just assumed that I was 5.
Yeah.
It was before I was in preschool.
Okay.
It was just before I started preschool. So I was probably around 4.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. And I just remember waking up and like having this existential crisis of like, my sister's above me. Why do I know this? How do I know this is my sister? How do I know I wasn't kidnapped? Or what's going on? And my grandparents also lived with us, and I knew that they were outside making making breakfast. And I'm like, why do I know this? What's going on here? So I just had this mini crisis of what I am. I was like a robot that just became sentient or something.
It's funny how we remember things as you get older. You know, if you're familiar with the podcast, you've heard me reference the Chancy Poo, and he's obviously in here. He's my always co-host on all my podcasts. He was always in the room with me, always hanging out, and he's been we had family, and Dana's family was in town this last weekend, and so he was with our sitter, and he's back, and he's being awfully cute and laying on his back and taking a snooze right now. So I was a little distracted by the little munchkin over there, but Yeah, but what I was saying is it's just interesting how our memories of how things go. I wonder what that was really like, what was really going on,
Yeah.
Like it's hard to tell even like those early memories of like what is real and what is something that we just kind of like conjured up. Even like I remember certain things from when I was young, and I think I was probably around the same age, like 4 or 5, and my parents would always they would always like say a prayer, and they'd like come in and like we'd talk before we went to bed and like say a little prayer, and then that was like the nightly routine. And I remember that really like very strongly in my head. And I remember the first time, it was probably around that age, I don't know, a certain age that I like was told that I couldn't have my pacifier anymore. I called it a DD, for whatever reason, my DD. That's what I wanted, my DD. And I remember that moment, like that was a very pivotal moment. It had to be one of my earliest memories. Like, it was just like, that was the day, like, can't have that anymore. And yeah, I don't know. It was before, so we moved there when I was 2. So I was in Buda, Illinois, is what I'm remembering. And I remember that in Buda, Illinois, I had, I can remember my bedroom. I remember all those little things. But we moved there when I was 2, and we moved away from there like midway through my first grade year. So like that winter, spring there. So it would have been in between there, but I have a bunch of memories of that time. There's the Casey's across the street. I always go over there and get donuts with my dad. There was this big, I think it was a maple tree. Is maple the one, Dana, you might know it, the one with the red leaves, like they get really bright red and like dark red? Is that maple?
I think so.
I don't know. I could be silly right now.
It could be an oak tree.
Oh, maybe it is oak. Anyway, I'm not a...
Did syrup come out of it?
No, I don't think so. I'm not entirely sure of what kind of tree it is. But I just remember it was this bright red leaves. But I'd climb that tree. I had this one branch, and it was like the first one that I was able to climb on my own. I'd always go and like look for rocks in the back garage. They had built this garage and like put a bunch of rocks down, and so that was like one of my favorite things, to go and check out the rocks. And I'd always sort through the rocks, and there's certain ones I liked, and I still like to do that kind of thing. But I love the bugs and all those types of things. But yeah, just good old times growing up, the younger years. Well, if you're still listening, if you're still out there, I'm going to give you one more chance to give us a call. Again, it's 612-367-7792. We've got just a few more minutes here. I'd love to get one more caller if you're listening, if you're still out there. Give us a call. Again, that's 612-367-7792. Again, CrazyFaceUno, we truly believe everyone has a story and that everyone's story matters. And I really want to hear your stories. So give us a call. We'll tell your story, and I'll send you this mug. It's a beautiful mug. Some red flowers and some green trim.
Good size.
Yeah, it's a good size. Great for a good cup of joe.
Probably 14 ounces.
Yeah, it's a good size mug. So, all right. I'm going to answer one more question as we're waiting. If you would like to call in, please don't hesitate. Give us a call. Again, that's 612-367-7792. Dana, I'm going to pick number 21.
21. Tell us one of your favorite memories from a holiday.
Favorite memories from a holiday. Boy. Yeah. Favorite memories from a holiday. One of my, I'm assuming it was a holiday. Was it maybe July, like 4th of July time? I don't know. one of my favorite memories was recently. I'll tell a couple different stories with this one, but I do remember recently in the last several years since we've been together, we went to your family gathering, get together. Maybe it was Easter. I don't know. It was one of those. And I went fishing with, I forget his name. Jamie, yeah. And catching a bunch of fish in the pond or the lake behind the house that was one of your family members. That was a fun one. Had a lot of fun. I think we played some different games and stuff in the backyard and had some beverages, and it was a good time. That was definitely a fun one. Growing up, I have, I love holidays. I always going home and seeing my family, and we always go to my grandma's. That's just like the staple of growing up. And so when I was younger, before, my parents are